I've had questions lately from several students actually on what can you do if you have small hands if you're playing the violin. Is there anything that you can do to make it easier when you have small hands, or if you have a short fourth finger, or maybe you have both, then you're really unlucky. So what can you do to make it easier? There are a few things that you can do. There isn't a magic cure, but there are a few things you can do to make it a little easier. If you have a larger hand or just average size hand, you're probably going to play more like this. Your fingers can be up over the strings more like this, and if I turn around so you can see the other side of my hand, the thumb is up higher. It can actually, some people keep their thumb actually above the strings like this on the neck. They have a fairly, they really let the neck of the violin kind of sink into their hand, and they can do that if you have a larger hand. In fact, with larger hands it's more comfortable to play like this with the thumb sticking up higher. But if you have a small hand, then what you need to do is you need to bring your fingers down, bring the whole hand down, and actually tilt your wrist towards the violin. You know, I don't like beginners to do this with their wrist, but if you have a small hand, you actually want to bend the wrist in towards the violin's body like this, and that really gives your fingers as much reach as they can get. And if I show you the other side, instead of having the thumb up high like this, you're going to bring your thumb down underneath the neck more. You know, it's not always underneath necessarily like this, but it's much lower than, you know, up here where a larger hand would be. Your thumb's going to come down like this. And for using the fourth finger, sometimes you want to bring the thumb forward a little bit like this and make a big gap. Let's see if I can stick my bow through here. Big gap in between here, between index finger and thumb. You really need a big gap if you've got a short fourth finger to help you reach that. Now if I turn around again, this is what it looks like. You know, someone with a large hand, I can't even really do it because I don't have a large hand, but you know, they're going to look more like this. But those of us with small hands, we got to bend our wrist in to get our fourth finger, and then your first finger is going to have to, can you see? I'll move my other fingers out of the way. The first finger has to play kind of on the side of the finger, is what it's going to look like. In fact, to really help your fourth finger, you got to really flatten out that first finger. You can't play on the tip of your first finger like most people would. You have to play more on the side of the first finger. Kind of lay it across the string. The string will make contact about here on your finger instead of on the tip. When you play with your first finger, you're going to make contact more on the side of the finger, and that will give you more reach with that fourth finger, so you can reach. So if you've got small hands and a short fourth finger, you're going to need to bend the wrist in and learn how to play more on the side of your first finger to give that fourth finger the maximum reach. And that takes practice, okay? I'm going to warn you ahead of time. If you're used to playing, you know, the same as someone with a large hand, right on the tips of your fingers, you're going to need to practice a lot of scales and etudes and different things to really get used to bending this hand in like this and playing more on the edge, the side of the first finger, so that fourth finger can reach. Okay? So those are just a few tips to help you if you have a small hand or a short fourth finger. Hope that helps.